Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Spawn Nerdy. I'm Spontaneous One. Welcome back to another video. This is the deck I mentioned in the last video. Haven't seen it? Go check it out. It's a really fun combination of cards, and I hope you enjoy. So let's start off. This is my Midnight Guard deck. I named it that because the main card of the entire deck is Midnight Guard. If you didn't see this card from last video, again, check it out. I went in somewhat depth about it. But as a refresher, it's a 3 cost. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield, you untap this card. It's a 2/3. Now, the 2/3, it's nice stats. It's not easy to kill, but pretty easy to kill. I run 4 copies in this deck. It's a standard 60-card deck. I run 4 copies. It is the main creature of the deck. Without it, the deck will not function. Afterwards, we have Presence of Gond. Again, 3 copies of this. I'm equipping Presence of Gond, and I'm starting off with like the most important. After the first 12 cards, you can really put in whatever you want. These 8 are necessary. The next one I would say is necessary too. Everything else you can argue about and put differently. I have 4 copies of Presence of Gond because you're going to be equipping them directly to this, and you want as much potential to pull Presence of Gond and Midnight Guard as you can in the standard game. Afterwards, I am running 4 copies of Crashing Drawbridge. I would suggest this card. It's a 2 colorless, well, 2 mana, any color. Crashing Drawbridge has the fun effect. It's a artifact creature wall, 0/4 defender. Tap, creatures you control gain haste until end of turn. You need that because you can win a turn quicker with the infinite amount of tokens you generated with a combo just previously shown, by just putting this on turn 2, and you could actually win turn 4. Yeah, you could win turn 4 with this deck. Turn 1, playing a mana. Turn 2, playing mana, Crashing Drawbridge. Turn 3, playing your Midnight Guard because you have 3 mana. And turn 4, you don't actually have to play a mana turn 4. Play Presence of Gond, create the infinite amount of tokens because you don't have Summoning Sickness. And then to deal the Summoning Sickness of the tokens, you tap Crashing Drawbridge. And that's game. Now, the cards that I have in my personal deck, but you don't necessarily need, I'm running 4 copies of Oppressive Ray. It's a 1 white, it's a enchantment or enchanted creature, enchant creature. Enchanted creature can't attack or block unless its controller pays 3. Activated abilities of enchanted creature cost 3 more to cast. This is pretty much to stop whatever creatures they put on the field. Let's say they pull in really early game strong card. Now it's a lot more expensive for them to attack or block, and if they don't have the mana, they can't do anything. So you could turn 1, play this on one of their creatures, and then not be able to use it until turn 3, which is just a good stopping. And if they ever want to use it, they have to waste 3 mana, which is even better than them just not being able to use it at all. So next, I run 4 copies of Fragmentize. If you don't know what Fragmentize is, it's a 1 white, destroy target artifact or enchantment with converted mana cost of 4 or less. A lot of artifacts and enchantments you'll run into, especially like early game, are pretty cheap ones, and this is a just cheap removal card. It takes out some of the stronger cards like Soul Ring and Mana Crypt, which is just going to help your opponent out really quickly. I run 2 copies. This is the only thing I don't run 4 copies of, excluding mana, of Pressure Point. The reason I run Pressure Point, 1, it's a cheap card. 2, let's say they have a really strong guy that they're going to swing with, like a 9/9. I can just pop it, make it where it can't attack, plus it's draw a card. You need a lot of draw power in this deck to get to the cards you need. And just tapping them makes it where they can't do something later. It's an instant, so you can also wait until your opponent's turn to play it. Next, I run 4 copies of Revitalize. It's a 1 colorless, 1 white. You gain 3 life and draw a card. You'll need the life for, again, lasting power. You don't have a ton of creatures. I've covered every creature in this deck already. You'll need it to last longer just in case they're doing a lot of hits early on game. And drawing the card to then get to the more cards you need later. The next card I really say is necessary in this deck. It's Explore. If you've never seen Explore, it's 1 colorless, 1 green. It's a sorcery. You may play additional land this turn, draw a card. Let's say you have 4 mana in your hand. You play this turn 2, now you have 3 mana on the field instead of just having those 2, which just makes the deck a lot faster. Plus, drawing a card, I'm going to say this a lot, makes it where you can get the cards you need faster. Now, this one is one that you could debate with me on, but I personally think Cultivate is a very necessary card. Cultivate is, if you've never experienced it, pay 2 colors, 1 green. You look through your library, pick 2 basic land cards. One enters the battlefield tapped, and the other one gets added to your hand. Now, I do this for 2 reasons. Number 1, you put more mana on the field, which you always want more mana. 2, you add a card to your hand. And 3, it just makes your entire deck smaller, which the less cards you have in the deck, the more likely you're going to draw the cards you need. So Cultivate's very useful. Now, you could probably replace it with other cards, but I built this deck to be just a cheap alternative. And at the end of this, I'm going to tell you how much this deck is worth, at least at the time I built it. Now, it can go up depending on the edition and all this, but the last non-land card I have is Scale the Heights. It's 2 colorless, 1 green, and has a list of effects. Starting off, you put a 1/1 counter on target creature, you gain 2 life, you may play an additional land card, and you draw a card. That's 4 effects for the price of 3 cost. You basically, it's explore with 1 more, and you get a 1/1 counter and 2 life for just the extra mana, which overall is really good. 1, more mana on the field. 2, you draw more cards, which makes it where you get the cards you need. The 1/1 counter you can put on the defender to make it tougher, or you can put on any of onto your Midnight Guard just to make it harder to kill. You gaining 2 life will make it where you don't die as quickly. And then the additional land, get cards out of your hand, and it's always good to have lands on the field. Next up, we have 11 of each, plains and forest. Now, I'm running about the standard 22. I was originally debating on 24, but 22 just seems to run a little bit better on mana-wise. You want to have 22 so you have a lot of lands going on the field. You don't want to get, like, not have enough mana. And there's a lot of cards that play extra mana and search for extra mana, so then it's going on the field so you can continuously play more and more cards. Now, this deck is really cheap. At the time of me building it, it was $12.74. Now, it's gone up in price, and it just depends on the edition you play this in. It is Paupers legal, with all the cards being commons. It's Legacy legal, Modern legal, all this fun stuff. And yes, it can be beatable, which is going to come out in the next video. It's just overall a really fun deck. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed, please tell us. Give us ideas of what you want to watch. If you want me to do more deck reviews, my personal decks, I have a lot of decks. Just tell me. Thank you guys for watching.